when I get used to using my grazing chart, I can look at this and all of a sudden I can see the whole season in the blink of an eye. So that's why I really like to use a chart like this. Now, I used to copy all my information by hand on a paper chart, but since I have so many animal groups, we have a group of steers, we have our dairy cows, we have pigs that are doing some clearing on certain properties that are going to become pasture, and we hay some of the fields as well. Because of all those activities, I like to add color to my record keeping. So I've used this form on my computer in a digital form. There's an Excel spreadsheet with all this information that I now use to collect my grazing information. I have a daily journal where every day or every couple days I'm writing down all the farm activities that have taken place. So if my animals are moving from one paddock to another or one large field to another, I'm going to write that down. With all my animal groups, I'm moving them. The cows are moving every, twice a day to new pasture. So I don't need to write that down, but when they have finished a field, I know that it's time for me to indicate a move in my daily journal, and then I'm going to update that. Every 2 or 3 weeks, I go onto my computer and I get onto my digital copy of my grazing plan, and I can update all my information. Right, I got the spreadsheet directly from Holistic Management. I did modify it a little bit because this extra space for notes wasn't there. Normally it would have been, March through September and then November through February, stacked months all on one chart. So I decided to just improvise. So I modified this a little bit for my use, but it was pretty easy to do. I have a column where I can identify my different paddocks or field names. For a lot of my fields, I might not be grazing the whole thing, so I'm going to give them subcategories like field, Earthwise 1, part A, B, and C, for example. And I have a number of different fields, some of which we're growing crops in, others that are hay crop only, others that are grazed and harvested, others where there might be poultry involved, or pigs, or our beef animals, or our dairy cows, or our draft horses. And in order to track all of that, I give them different colors. So I'm going to be filling in within this grid. Each section every day is a little box associated with all the various fields and pastures. So when my cows are in the Gilead pasture, for example, they first started grazing in the Gilead field on May 3rd, then I'm going to fill in the little square associated with my cows for May 3rd, which is a blue color. So as they're in that Gilead pasture, I'm going to see a bunch of blue boxes until all of a sudden I need to move them. They've gone through that pasture, and now it's time to move them to the triangle pasture. So I'm going to find the triangle pasture in my list of fields, and the blue color is going to continue to that field, and so on. So along this chart, I've got April, May, June, July, August, September, and I have another section that takes me through a full 12-month calendar year. There's a box for every single day of the month, so no day gets missed. And I like to use this grazing chart not only for the months that my animals are actually harvesting their own feed, but I also use it for the months when my animals are being fed in the wintertime, because oftentimes our animals are getting turned out into fields on our farm that need manure or nutrients. We like to outwinter our animals, so they're being fed a round bale or square bales. But when that's happening, I'm also adding that to my field information, because those are nutrients that are being added to those pieces. And if I'm doing it in one field for one winter, then I'm most likely going to go to a different location for the next winter that comes along. This year, when the inspector came to inquire about my grazing system, I literally handed her this sheet, and it had all the information that she needed to know, because it showed that all the animals that were certified organic, it let you know exactly how often I was moving them, what their dry matter needs were, and what was any supplemental feed that they were getting. It's all right there on the chart. She didn't need anything else but to see what the animals, where the animals were and how the pastures looked. She loved it. It was more information than she actually needed. It doesn't let you know what the total percent of total dry matter is, but when you know that a cow needing 40 pounds of dry matter a day is only getting 4 pounds of grain and the rest is pasture, it's pretty clear that it's more than 30%. So we don't need to go much further, but we could. I'd be happy to do that information as well. You know, along with this grazing chart, I would also have a map of my farm that indicates where all the pastures are. We would have the chart, the map with all the fields marked, and I would correlate that to the names of the pastures here. And we could just, at the desk, talk about the rotation that I've had or that I'm going to have, and then we can go out in the field and verify and see what those fields look like and where the animals are and how the animals look. This system has actually been created by Holistic Management International. And I think there's a lot of material on their website that's free for download. And that's where I got the Excel version of their printed grazing chart. I also got access to a lot of these resources through Holistic Management's Beginning Women Farmer program that takes place in a lot of the northeastern states. Vermont is one of them, where beginning women farmers or women farmers in their first, 1 to 5 years of production can take part in a 10-week course. It starts in January, it usually wraps up in May, where they meet for up to 10 full days covering the various components of holistic management. And one part of that is understanding your resource base, understanding your biological system, and knowing what a grazing plan is and how to use it on your farm to monitor your biological activity, monitor your yields, monitor your profit, monitor your different animal projects, your various income streams, or your animal enterprises, I guess is a better word.